Hello all and welcome, and I'm the MGTOW philosopher. And in this video I would like to discuss the myth that is men getting more sex after marriage. Now you would think that most men would know that this was a myth. You'd think that they would already be aware of this. This is pretty much, in my mind, common knowledge, but of course everything is relative. And the truth is most men are not aware of this. I could speak of somebody that I know personally. And he thought that he was going to get a whole bunch of sex after he got married, more than he was already getting, because she didn't live with him, and she wanted to move in with him, and wanted to get married, and he wanted to marry her. I said, oh, we have this great bond, and oh, you wouldn't believe how much we talk. Oh, it's so wonderful. Anyway, so he thinks that once they get together, because they're already so hot and heavy, that once they're in the same house and they don't have the chore of having to travel back and forth to each other's places, that there's going to be even more sex. And of course, she implied this as well. And of course, he was very disappointed to find out after they got married, it was the exact opposite, or it stayed the same. Essentially, nothing changed. And then after a short period of time, it actually went downhill. Of course it did. Women use sex as a bait to bait you into marriage, okay? Now, it used to be that women could and did use actual sex to get you to marry them. Like, you're not getting any until we get married. Now, this was before second and third wave feminism came along and spoiled it for women by telling them, you can have sex with anyone, anywhere, anytime, as many men as you want, and it won't in any way affect your sexual marketplace value, and it will in no way make you less happy. In fact, you'll be more happy because you'll be doing what men do. Yeah, except you're not a man. It makes a difference. What makes us happy doesn't necessarily make you happy. But when you believe in the myth that is egalitarianism, meaning that everything is equal, meaning that everything is the same, then, of course, you can do the same thing that men do as a woman and have no consequences. Of course, that is not true at all. What works for men doesn't necessarily work for women. Anyway, so he found out the hard way. Oh my God, there's no sex. It's just, oh, geez, not having sex. What happened? We were going so hot and heavy, and now it's like, everything is obliterated. There's nothing happening. What's going on? What happened? I thought women like sex too. I get news for you guys out there, okay? Most women are not that into sex compared to men, all right? Now, this is speaking generally. Now, of course, there's some women out there who create a little more testosterone in their bodies than others. Of course, they have nothing compared to the amount men have. But some women are more feisty, interested in sex than others. But that's a small minority. The majority of women compared to men just are not that into sex. Now, of course, they know there's no way they can withhold sex anymore and get you to be married unless you're a total loser who has zero game and you're afraid that if she leaves and goes away, you ain't going to get another chick. I mean, that's absurd. Every woman out there, if they don't call themselves a feminist, they believe in many of the feminist ideals, one of them being, you can just sleep around and ride the cock carousel and have all the fun you want, and it won't affect your sexual marketplace value at all, and it won't make it difficult for you to be happy in the future, because you don't need a man, of course, right? Me. Yeah, doesn't quite work that way, okay? So women can't really do that. They can't withhold sex and get you to marry them. The days of leave it to beaver are over. The days of, we'll have sex when we get married are gone. Feminism destroyed that for women. They did have the ultimate tool, and it's a tool they had been exercising, by the way, for thousands of years, all right? And it worked pretty well. You got us to marry you, and in exchange, we actually benefited in some way. And we're not whores like women. We're not total slobs, greedy pigs. We don't need to benefit tremendously, but we do need some kind of benefit. And of course, getting married these days is a net loss, not a gain. So you'd have to be a fool to get married. But so many men are still blue-pilled. They're not dialed into actual reality. And so they continue to do what is expected of them, like the good little Pavlovian dogs they are, and they get married. And they find out once they get married that, it's a sham. Women use sex as a loss leader, okay? Like if you go into a supermarket and you see the 6-pack of Coke and it's like 99 cents. It's like, what? How the fuck can they be making money off that? What's going on here? Oh, they got you in the door, didn't they? And now you're going to fill up that cart with all the expensive shit and the $40 cheeses and such because you walked in the door because you wanted a 6-pack of Coke for 99 cents, okay? It's the same goddamn thing. It's a loss leader. They get you in the door and then they drain the wallet and you don't get very much in return. You end up spending a lot more than you got out of that 6-pack of Coca-Cola for 99 cents. Now, women today, this is the 1950s version of no sex. They give you a lot of sex beforehand, and then they promise you it'll be even better when you get married, or that's the tacit implication. And I've had women tell me this. I mean, I've had a number of instances where marriage was a possibility, and I absolutely turned it down. But I've had women actually tell me this. Oh, well, we'll have more sex when we get married. I'm looking at her. I'm thinking, do you think I'm a fucking moron? I mean, do you see the word moron stamped on my fucking head? I mean, honestly, you're having as much sex as you want to have. Sex is one of them things that feels good or it doesn't, and you love it or you hate it. You like it a lot. You've got the hormone levels to really be into it and be biologically driven to have it, or you don't. It's not going to go up anymore when you get married. And the only reason we're having so much now is because I'm not marrying you. See, I knew this, and I tried to tell my friend this, but he said, oh, no, you don't know what you're talking about. She loves me, baby. Once we get married, ooh, it's going to be even better. And this is the thing. People are in love with this idea of love and this idea of marriage, and they want to learn the hard way. They absolutely do. I honestly believe that people, for some reason, don't want to listen to the advice of others because they think there's some kind of great value to be had in getting your balls chopped off, essentially, and learning things the hard way. So don't listen to anybody else. So he went ahead, got married, found out the hard way. 10 years later, the guy's getting nothing. He's very unhappy. She's a fat slob eating bonbons, quit her job, does nothing. And essentially, he is unhappy while she's very happy, fucking buying dogs, rare breed dogs with his money while he's out traveling around the fucking country, working a job that requires him to do all this travel. And she's doing nothing. And of course, he's not going to divorce her because if he does, she'll get half his shit. Half the house that she put zero money into. Didn't even work during the marriage, and now they've been married more than 10 years. So, surprise! Lifetime alimony, baby. It's amazing to me how men still get married when it's a 50% chance that it's going to end. I mean, would you jump out of a fucking airplane if you know there was a 50% chance that parachute wasn't going to open? Of course you would not. You'd have to be a freaking moron to do that. Yet men do it every day. Oh, well, marriage isn't death. Yeah, tell that to the guy that just blew his fucking head off because he was going through a hard divorce and it drove him crazy. Marriage very well can be death. And the death of most marriages is sex. I was talking to this woman the other day and she told me that her husband cheated on her. I was like, what, why? What happened? And she said, oh, well, when I was pregnant, I didn't have sex with him. I was like, okay, so for 9 months you gave him no sex. And then you found out he cheated on you, and you were, like, surprised. What? I mean, are you out of your fucking mind, honey? You don't give a guy sex for 9 months and you're married. What do you think he married you for? What do you think, he married you to have a cook? He could hire a cook for cheaper than you are. What do you think, he hired you to have somebody to look at? You get a fucking poster and put it on the wall. There's better-looking women than you. He could just put a poster on the fucking wall and look at her. It'd be a hell of a lot cheaper. What do you think he had? Why do you think he married you? He married you to get regular sex. Access. Easy access. Men want easy access. I think that's part of why they get married. And women encourage this belief. And I says, well, what's the problem? And she's making all these excuses. Well, you know, I didn't feel sexual. And I thought it was fat. And, you know, he wanted it. But, I just was so insecure about how I looked. And also I was afraid it would hurt the baby. Bullshit. Everybody knows that's a fucking myth. She was just saying that as a little add-on at the end there to try and justify it in some actual rational way. Because she knew that what she was doing was horseshit. And I told her, it's your fault. It's your fault he divorced you, you know. And she couldn't accept it. Huh? Oh, no. Women think different. It's not the same. And she's coming up with all these excuses. Yeah, it's your fault. And eventually she accepted that I was right. And she thanked me for teaching her a valuable lesson. I was shocked that a woman would actually recognize the reality of what I was saying and acknowledge it. That's how men are. We want sex. And women know we want sex. But since it's not the 1950s Ward Cleaver bullshit days, with Eddie Haskell running around, women have found new ways to lasso us in. Because they can't withhold sex, because they know there's so many women out there that'll give it to us, that they have to give it up. But once you get married, the sex will drop off a cliff. And the reason women don't like sex as much as men is just simply biological, guys, okay? You've been fed this line by feminists that women like sex just as much as men. That's horseshit. It's just a way to get you to marry them, okay? It's not true. It's because once they started having as much sex as men, or maybe even more, then they saw, now the guy doesn't have to buy the cow to get the milk. Well, we got to create a new lie, a new narrative now to get him to sign the papers so that we can take all his shit. God damn it, we kind of painted ourselves in the corner here. We thought this would free us, but we're kind of, now the guys aren't wanting to marry us anymore. This could create that problem. Oh, we got to do something about that. Oh, wait a second. We can say the women like sex as much as men. Maybe even more. And if we get married, you'll get even more sex. Okay. That sounds good. That's how to do it. Yeah. Let's spread that lie. Let's tell everybody that women like sex as much as men. Yeah. And we'll just have lots and lots and lots of sex beforehand to get him to sign the papers because he's going to think he's going to get even more that's going to get even better. And I had women tell me this. Oh, it'll be even better when we get married, baby. What? Come on. If you can't give good head now, how are you going to give good head after we get married? Is the head going to change? Are you going to somehow miraculously develop the ability to suck my cock well? I mean, what's going to happen here? You're going to magically realize how to do it correctly and not, use your teeth at all and, catch anything on any edges and it's going to be perfect. And I mean, you're going to magically learn to like this? You're going to magically turn into someone that actually moves during sex and not just going to be a refrigerator and just lay there? I mean, what is going to magically change after marriage that wasn't the same way before? But this is some lie that men seem to accept in massive numbers. I think it's just wishful thinking. I think they really, really want to be in a long-term relationship. They want that woman to love them. They want that commitment. They want that leave it to beaver, a fulfilled life with the kids, and they think this will complete them. And it will not, guys. It will not. It's all a sham. It's all a fairy tale. It's all a lie. You will get no more sex after marriage. In fact, you will get less because women just don't like it as much as us. It's testosterone that drives us. It's testosterone that in large part makes us so sexual. It's biology, the need to spread our seed as widely as possible. Women don't have those biological imperatives. Some do like sex. Many are just neutral about it. Some can come to like it, but really, women in large part are lazy. They're lazy unless they're going to CrossFit every day and they're like super athletes. They don't have as much energy as you do. So they're really not so interested. If they don't have to do it anymore, they won't. And they figure they just have to do it to get you to sign the papers. And once they have you sign the papers, that's it. And the days of no-fault divorce are over, gentlemen. Okay? You're not going to get a divorce and say, well, she refused to have sex. She didn't have sex the whole marriage. Or she had very little. She didn't fulfill her obligation as a wife, so she shouldn't get anything. I'm ruling against you, man. Doesn't matter. She gets everything, even though she did nothing to earn it. She contributed nothing to the marital partnership. You get zero. She gets everything. So don't be fooled, gentlemen. Women do not like sex as much as men. They never have. They never will. Do not be fooled thinking that she does because she's having a lot of it with you before the marriage. It's just a loss leader. It's just to get you in the door so you spend the really big money, and in the end you lose big time. I am the MGTOW philosopher, and I wish you a good day. Take care.